Hey everyone, how's it going? Yeah, nice little weekend this weekend. We've been on a couple of excursions actually, and we went to Lightwater Country Park yesterday, which is in Surrey, which is probably about 15 minutes from me. And then today we went to Hampstead Heath, which was lovely as well. So yeah, nice couple of trips out. I got really into the Afterlife series, Ricky Gervais, which is incredible, and I really think it's a work of art, to be honest. And I think everybody should watch it because I think it's got some real profound stuff. I think it's as good writing as anything, it's including Dickens and all those kind of people. I think it's up there. I think it's a work of art. So we got right into the last series, which was out last weekend, and yeah, it's really deep, really moving, and got really into it. So we wanted to try and locate the benches that have been put up, because he's put up I think it's 25 benches around the whole country, and one's in Lightwater Country Park, and apparently one is in Hampstead as well. So we thought, so we'd go to Lightwater, we'll find it, get a photo at the bench, blah blah blah. That's how sad we are. But yeah, so we went there and we didn't find it, but what we were rewarded with was a great view of up on the heath. You could see City of London, and then you could also see Ascot. You could see the Windsor Great Park, which is like Virginia Water, which was beautiful. So that was very nice. And then Hampstead today, we didn't find the bench either today, so we were still on the lookout for these benches. And Ricky Gervais, absolutely brilliant series, so congratulations on that. Been a bit quiet the last couple of weeks. Started strong with these podcasts, so we did 3 straight away, and I wanted to talk about some of the people that have really taught me a lot, and some people I had lessons with before I got into talking about the hangs, what we did at Drum Hangs over the past 18 months, and managed to support a lot of the world's greatest drummers with a gig at the time when nobody had any work, so very, very happy with what we achieved with that. Been a bit quiet last couple of weeks, just didn't feel like it, and today I thought I'd do a little podcast, and today I want to talk about the influence of Allan Cox and the lessons I had with Alan, and I think he's one of the great drum teachers in the UK. I studied with a few people, and obviously I haven't studied with everyone, so I don't know what everyone's like, but yeah, from the material I got from Alan was very helpful. I was always very into melodic sort of playing at the drums, and I think it comes from when I heard Jeff Hamilton for the first time, and it kind of whacked me over the head, like, wow, this guy's actually playing a tune, and I'll tell a story about that when we do this episode about Jeff Hamilton. But when I heard him play, I thought, wow, that's really cool. And then there was an article in Modern Drummer, and it was showing how to play Ted Reed's syncopation. And this is obviously there's loads of systems you could play with syncopation. There's loads of ways of filling out in between the melody, but when I was 16, I hadn't seen this before. It was totally new to me. I thought, wow, how cool is that? We can play these melodies and we can fill out with triplets and that kind of thing. And that always stuck with me. I always wanted to become more and more proficient with how to play a melody and how to throw away the other notes, and really hang on to that melody. So it became a thing. It always sat with me, and I thought it was very cool, that approach. So I was studying with Bob Armstrong, as you know. I did an episode about him on his birthday, a tribute, as you were, and I kind of jumped the gun, I guess, because I skipped Phil Solomon, who was my first drum teacher. But that's okay, there's no rules. As with music, again, it's only one cup of tea and then we're out here, so it won't take too much of your time, but stick with me. So I thought, well, I was having lessons with Bob, and I'd been for about 4 years, and I definitely got where he was coming from. I got it, and I was kind of like, well, this is great, you know what I mean? But I liked the drummers like Shelly Manne and people like that, real classic kind of jazz drummers, and I felt that my playing was, I felt like I was kind of missing something. I didn't really know what it was, but I was missing. I would watch the way they would play the ride cymbal, some of these guys, and it seemed to be more kind of fingers, and I was kind of playing a bit more kind of wrist with stuff, and generally a bit louder, which is exactly why I went there, because I was struggling to get volume out the kit. I was struggling to sound modern, as it were, and I felt like I needed to be able to let the kit open up a bit more, and I definitely felt that was in a better way after I got what I wanted from Bob, and I loved the lessons with him, and I eventually stopped, and I didn't actually play the drums for a little while after finishing lessons with Bob. I was doing a few bits and bobs, and I thought, well, have a break, and I was quite into fitness, so I was boxing and things like that, which was a lot of fun. But anyway, so I felt like one day I was thinking, I want to get some lessons again. I quite fancy, studying again, and who could I have lessons with, and I was very into this melodic playing thing, like I say, and one guy who was really known for that approach, apart from Alan Dawson, which this Modern Drummer article mentioned, obviously, and Alan Dawson, one of the great drum teachers too. But one of the other guys I became aware of through Bob's teaching as well. Bob had a page called Page 33, which was actually taken from a Jim Blackley Syncopated Rolls book, as you'll know. So I sought out the Jim Blackley books. I thought, well, I want to study this Syncopated Rolls. That sounds really interesting. So I got hold of the book, and the only person it seemed to be selling them on his website was Allan Cox. And then when I read his website, I read all the words. I thought, wow, this is exactly what I'm thinking about, So I contacted him for a lesson. I bought the books, and I went to Oxford for some lessons with him. The interesting thing, when I phoned him up, and I was coming from this sort of thing of like I had a lesson every 2 weeks, and and it was like that was fixed kind of thing, and you were kind of working towards something, and it was very focused, But when I phoned Alan, he said, well, maybe we'll do 10 or 12 lessons and see how you go. And I was thinking, whoa, hang on a minute. I need you to be there with me all the time. I need someone. And he's like, well, you have it once a month, maybe once every 6 weeks. And I was like, this is completely different. I wasn't expecting. I'm not ready for you to say that. You know what I mean? And really, where he's coming from, really, is that he realises, and what is very important, what a lot of people don't realise, is the importance of not using your drum lessons as a crutch and as some kind of support. Really, we've got to be discovering our own sound. And we've got to be sort of looking within ourselves and being honest with ourselves. Do we sound good? Can we play with a group, and is the time good? Does it feel good? Are people enjoying performing with you? And I think that's a really deep thing, and something that's getting missed so much at the moment, especially at the kind of Instagram, YouTube thing. And it's nobody's fault. This is just the way the world is at the minute. There's a lot of guys who can play some great stuff, and they're great players, but they're not necessarily great musicians. And I've always tried to, look up to the people that are great musicians, and I can't even say the word, musicians, and try to sort of emulate them. But it comes to a point where you can only emulate so much, and you have to look within yourself and be honest with yourself and go, do I sound good? And what do I want to sound like? And take a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and it ends up sounding like you. And that's really what I kind of got from Alan, really. And I'd go up there once every 6 weeks. It was about an 18-month period, and he introduced me to so much music as well. And I became totally obsessed with buying CDs at the time. I was buying so many CDs. I went into overdrive with it, and so much so that people would start to phone me and say, "Hey, do you know this thing?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." I mean, I was obsessed with it, and I, have a real great knowledge of some of these records. So and that really came from Alan. I started to hear things differently, and I think ear training as drummers is so important, and the amount of people you can sit down with and you can just have them playing something very simple. But the minute you start saying, well, okay, how do you play a 5-bar phrase in 4/4? You know, let's look at that and let's open up things in between that, see the relationship between things. That people just can't do it, you know, and it's actually very simple. But you have to train your ears to be able to do that, and you have to train your ears to listen to records and go, okay, what's that sound? I want to get that sound. And I used to listen to records like Art Pepper Plus 11 with Mel Lewis and think, that's exactly what I want to sound like, you know, very important. So yeah, they were really important lessons. I would recommend anyone, Alan's still teaching, I recommend to go up and see him and have a lesson. And it's very different to what you might be thinking of drum lessons are about, because you go there, it's about 2 hours. And the interesting thing, the first lesson I had when I got there, we stood in the kitchen for half an hour chatting, and I'm thinking, well, I want to be playing. But it just becomes not about the drums, you know what I mean? You have to kind of get your head out the drums, and that was really important. But also, you've got to be able to play as well, you know, you have got to put the work in. And I went through Jim's material with Alan, and I studied it so hard. I worked so hard at it for an 18-month period, just every day at it. And basically, you're trying to get the best sound. You're trying to just play and play the time, slowing everything down, making sure everything lines up, and you're kind of trying to make everything feel buoyant and give it that swing, all of your limbs, you know. And the thing that really got me about Alan was he knew that most drummers' problems, like Jim Blackley knew, most drummers' problems were in the feet. And he had a lot of exercises to sort that out. And there's some absolute gold stuff I could share with you. But I haven't got my sticks or a pad, so I'm not going to do that here. But yeah, I'd recommend phoning him up, and he has some great exercises on the table of time and things like that. And those sort of things, but Papa Joe Jones would talk about the table of time and how important that was. And I think it's huge, you know, it's absolutely huge what you can do with it. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about Lessons with Alan. And I really thank him for opening up my ears. And, you know, it's not about having fast hands, it's about having fast ears, you know, which is what he's all about. So yeah, thank you, Alan. It's really much appreciated. And I remember one of the last lessons I had with him, because I was completely obsessed with Jim Blackley's material. I would read those little stories he'd wrote all these quotes in the books, especially in Essence of Jazz Drumming, which was my favourite. And there's these quotes, and I really try to make it part of my being. You know, I'd read the book before I practiced and things like that. And it became a real thing for me, you know, and probably too much, you know. It became a bit like an ideology, which is also dangerous, you know, in music. So yeah, it was a really great time. And I remember at the end of the last lesson, Alan turned to me and he said, well, you know, I don't think you should have any more lessons, but have you thought about going to see Jim Blackley? And I was about 23 at the time, and I turned to him and I said, what, I could go and study with Jim Blackley? Are you serious? Sort of thing. And he said, well, yeah, why not? And I looked at him and I thought, what, I can really do that? He said, yeah, just email the website and go and see them. It'll be great. And so this sort of, I'll leave this here because this leads into actually going to Jim Blackley and going to Canada and studying with him, which was, again, an incredible experience. But yeah, I don't want to divulge too much about Lessons with Alan because it's probably different for everyone. But I had a great experience, a great time, and I think if you're looking to, expand your knowledge of records, knowledge of music, and get some kind of ear training, and also make everything feel better, which is what it did for me. And I know everything felt great already, but he just managed to sort of calm everything down a little bit, I think. And I don't think you're ever satisfied. But what you start to think about is like, well, what do I want to sound like? How can I create at the drum set, you know? So yeah, I'll leave it there. But next time I want to talk about Jim Blackley. And I hope you'll stick with me because this is hopefully a lot of fun. And I know there's a lot of other channels you could be watching out there, and I don't know why you'd want to watch me. But yeah, we'll have some great stories about some of the world's greatest drummers about who we hung with on drum hangs. So yeah, I'll see you next time. All right, bye bye.